instrument collecting is fun, partly because the really great instruments don't look, feel, or sound, or respond like inanimate, compliant tools. They actually look, feel, sound alive. They have soul and personality. What really sets the great ones apart is exactly that feeling that they are indeed alive, and they inspire the player to think of things and try things that they would never otherwise have done. It's almost as though the ideas are being suggested by the instrument, and that it becomes the partner of the player rather than the servant. It's as though the player and the instrument bond together and almost become one that is more powerful. The instrument alone cannot play, nor can the player produce those sounds without the instrument. So in some ways, it's like having this android suit that you can put it on and you can leap across buildings and high mountains, and your Superman suit. You can do things you couldn't have done. And with a great instrument, you can come up with ideas that you would never have tried otherwise. But they're also beautiful to look at. A painting you can look at, but that's it. You look. A piece of sculpture you can look and you can touch. But with the instrument, the great one looks really good. Has great lines. This one, early 1929 L5, is not just dripping with pearl and ornamental goo and carving. It's not what most people would think is a fancy guitar, but this was actually the most expensive model in the Gibson line in 1929. It cost $275 new without a case. By contrast, a Martin 00045 with abalone pearl on all body edges, top, back, sides, snowflake abalone fingerboard inlays, abalone peghead inlay, was $180. This was more expensive at $275. So this was a sure enough expensive instrument. And it really is quite a contrast that this instrument, aside from being expensive, has a responsiveness and sound that I find inspirational, but it feels alive. And for the non-player, the best comparison probably is a fine performance car. If you sit in the back seat of a sedan, you just can't tell what it's doing. It doesn't feel that much different in the back seat of a high-end Mercedes versus a Chevrolet. It feels a little different when you're in the front passenger seat, but it's only when you get behind the wheel that you truly get the feel for what that car can do, and what it seems like it would like to do, and what it suggests to you that you too might enjoy doing. The problem with the performance car versus the guitar is that every one of those suggestions that the performance car makes turns out not to be street legal and was likely to produce flashing blue lights and tickets, or worse yet, accidents in which you might die and might even take out a family of 6. Whereas with the instrument, that's not likely to happen. But we can compare and contrast instruments that are radically different from each other and still see that this guitar, great lines, great feel, great appearance, great sound, and great feel. It's responsive. Contrasting it, here's a very different instrument. This is an early 1920s Vega tubaphone style number 9 5-string banjo. Doesn't look much like a guitar, but artistically it's gorgeous. It has beautiful engraved pearl inlays on the neck, as well as on the back of the peg head, heel cap. Notice the hand-carved heel of the neck. Doesn't enhance playability, but it looks good. It doesn't feel bad. This is a great feeling neck. It's a marvelous banjo, touches like this wood marquetry trim at the bottom edge of the rim. The audience is never going to see that. The player will see it. It is a beautiful instrument. It sounds great. It feels great. And what they both combine, whether it's a mandolin, an acoustic guitar, F-hole guitar, flat top guitar, resonator guitar, electric guitar, solid body, hollow body, semi-solid, doesn't matter. Same as with a car. Number one is design. Number two is structural workmanship. Number three is materials. Number four is cosmetics. The great instruments, as well as the great cars, really have great lines, but first and foremost, they have a great design so they function. With the car or an airplane, if it's not well designed, it can have the finest workmanship and materials in the world, but if you're driving along at 100 miles an hour on the Autobahn, or at 38,000 feet up in the sky in a plane, if it's badly designed, you'll die if it's badly designed, no matter how good the rest may be. With the instrument, you may not die, but when you have an instrument with great design, even if it has mediocre materials and mediocre cosmetics, if it has structural workmanship and materials that it won't fall apart and has a great design, it will still sound good, but it won't sound as good as if you combine really superb materials and get that great design, combine it with great structural workmanship, great materials, and then add some nice cosmetics so it's pretty, and you've got something that is absolutely a joy to play. It makes one inspired to collect, to own, and you will create better music on an instrument that is inspirational because it is an interactive thing where the instrument and the player become one and can do more than would have happened otherwise.